Well, hey everybody, Andy Kvernen here with another Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. In today's Bible reading, we come towards the end of the book of Job, where Job and his friends have been reasoning out his situation, his predicament, and of course the friends are really hard on him and assume that he's done all kinds of wrong things, and Job is making his case that he does not deserve what has been occurring to him. And some of the things that Job says are spot on, some of them are perhaps not, even his anger towards God and his aggression even. And yet, the beautiful thing is that Job knows where to turn and he never stops talking to God. I just heard recently someone commend Job that with all that could have been done, with all that could have been said, Job was angry, he was hurting, he was raw, and yet the beautiful thing and the thing that God commends Job for is that he never stops talking to God. He never breaks from the relationship, and in the end, Job sees God in a whole new way. Well, here in the middle, actually towards the end, Job has this moment where again he's making his case before the Lord. He's kind of giving his final appeal and saying, look, I don't deserve this. And this is something that he says, and I actually think it's helpful for us in our day, in our time, to remember. It triggers something for me. So I'm going to read this to you. Job 31, verses 1 through 4. It says, I have made a covenant with my eyes. How then could I gaze at a virgin? What would be my portion from God above, and my heritage for the Almighty on high? Is not calamity for the unrighteous and disaster for the workers of iniquity? Does not he see my ways and number all my steps? Notice how Job is making a case for his righteousness here. And of course, God never says, well, yep, Job, you did everything perfect, and therefore, all this was unjust. He doesn't say that. What God says is, I want you to trust me, and I get to decide. But as Job makes his case, he says something that's really profound. He says, I've made a covenant with my eyes. How then could I gaze at a virgin? If you read some of the other translations, you notice that when they translate it, they say, like in the New Living Translation, Job says, I've made a covenant with my eyes not to look with lust at a young woman. The Message says, I've been determined not to undress a girl with my eyes. And here, obviously, the language is of a sexual nature. It's significant. And what Job is saying is, look, I've honored you with my marriage covenant. I haven't gone after women who are not married to me. I've not gone after someone who's not my wife. I've made a covenant with my eyes. And friends, it's worth just pausing in our daily Bible reading and in our conversation as we continue to pursue the Lord together. It's worth pausing to ask ourselves, have we made the same kind of covenant? Have we made a covenant with our eyes not to pursue that which is out of bounds biblically from a sexual perspective? Have we made a covenant with our eyes not to look at pornography, not to go after those things? Of course, that's an issue for men. It's also an issue for women. Statistics show that women are continuing to increase in their viewing of pornography. It's ubiquitous. It's all over the place. Have we made a covenant with our eyes not to pursue that form of sexuality outside of our marriages? And so, I just wanted to pause today. Perhaps you're struggling with that. Perhaps you're one of statistics say that many in churches struggle with pornography. Maybe you're there. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give in to the struggle. Have you talked to somebody about it? Have you put yourself in a community where you can say, hey, I'm wrestling with this. I'm working on this. Maybe it's with one of your men's groups if you're a guy. Maybe it's with one of the ladies' groups. Maybe it's with a close friend. And you come to somebody and say, hey, I need prayer for this. I need some accountability for this. And I need to pursue something better. I'll tell you, one of the books that I found to be helpful over the years is a book by Michael Kuzik called Surfing for God. You might check that out. You might come and talk to one of us pastors if we can help you in that way. But friends, let's make a covenant with our eyes, not to view pornography, not to let that be ruling in our lives. But not only that, let's make a covenant and let's honor that word, even covenant. For those of us who are married, let's make a covenant to stay true to our covenant, to stay true to our marriages, to stay true to our spouse. Friends, our spouse God has given us as something beautiful and something rich, but God never promises that we'll always be happy in our marriage. He doesn't give us the right to go outside of our marriage for satisfaction and happiness. But He does promise that if we follow Him, if we live according to His ways and follow the covenant that we've made with Him, that we will be blessed, sometimes in this life, always in the next. Friends, how have you made a covenant with your eyes today to honor your marriage? If you're not married, how have you made a covenant with your eyes to wait for marriage and to remain celibate and to remain pure as you wait on God for your ultimate marriage or not? And as we talked about recently, sometimes God calls us to singleness. How are you doing in that way? Let's not be passive about it. Let's be proactive. Let's be submissive and repentant and invite God to have His way among us. Job sets a good example here. May we follow after him. God bless you, friends. Have a great day, and Lord willing, we'll see you again soon on the Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional.